players, the personalities who come from around the world to play professional soccer in the United States.
Go, go, USA! Oh, it's incredible!
In a world where some call it football, football, or soccer, they dare to call it foosball. One thinks New York is blue, the other thinks New York is red. Soccer in America from a German perspective. Let them put some sauerkraut on your hot dog and join them for the Schnitzel Boys USA Hour.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Stefan, you have a blue shirt on.
That's right, a dark blue shirt.
Dark blue shirt.
No,
So, we did an emotional check-in in the USA Hour.
the Germany hour.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The Germany Hour, and it was my turn to talk about my emotional state, and now it's your turn at the USA Hour, Stefan. Is your mood as dark blue as your shirt?
Yeah, it's pretty dark. I mean, I was really upset, but I think I told this earlier. I just came from All You Can Eat the Sizzler, so I was feeling really, really good. And now now I'm approaching this podcast feeling great, in a great mood. Just a stomach full of delicious, cheap buffet fare, and I am not cheap. It's actually way too expensive, in my opinion. But what used to be cheap buffet fare, so it's a good little trip down memory lane. But yeah, I'm in a decent mood, and the weekend was brutal for me. And I guess I didn't really share this in the Germany hour. I didn't watch as much of the Bundesliga as I should have because I was pretty soccered out at the end of the derby. I was like, well, this sucks. I was like, I don't need to watch any more of this. I don't know. I just watched it. I think it's last year. Can you hear me? Can you?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you at all.
No?
You're mute. Is it me? Is it my...
Oh, no.
My
I
thing?
am going to test my... StreamYard says I'm good.
Audio.
I think, yeah, according to StreamYard, I'm good.
Audio's not working.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
It's not just the... Oh, hello?
You're fine out of my speakers. It's my headphones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm good. Well, it's just... This is just...
Sorry, everyone at home.
Ay, in the words of Derek Ray. Ay. Everything is just going pear-shaped for Stefan and his Red Bulls. What do we do? Oh.
Yeah. I can't, my headphones don't stop working.
Oh, you're going to take your headphones off. All right, here we are.
There might be an echo. Do you hear an echo at all?
I don't hear an echo.
All right. Good. I'm going to put it down just in case. All right, can you speak for me?
Well, I had a great time at our derby, the Hudson River Derby, at Red Bull Arena. I'm going to Red Bull Arena 3 times this week, and this was the road game. The other 2 are our home games, and
well, what is my wish?
just-
we're inching closer to my wish.
your
What's my
wish, your wish is not going to come true.
I know,
And you shouldn't wish for it either. Actually, considering
I do wish for it because MLS is this bonkers, quirky little thing, and all I root for is more quirks. And this would be the quirk of quirks, and that's all I want. And I want the quirk. Tell the audience at home what Uncle Stefan wants.
Uncle Stefan would like to have New York City FC host a playoff series against the Red Bulls, where the New York City's the home team, but our home stadium would have to be Red Bull Arena.
That's what I want.
That's what he
I
wants.
want all 3 games at Red Bull Arena, but 2 of them are your home game.
This is not as impossible as it may seem to the casual observer, because as we all know, New York City FC plays in the 2 baseball stadiums, Yankee Stadium and Citi Field. The Mets just clinched their playoff spot today. I watched that game. This was a crazy baseball game where the Braves and the Mets are playing a doubleheader today, and the math works out. This is so crazy. baseball's insane. They play 162 regular season games, an enormous amount. Like, this is unfathomable in every other sport. They play practically every day. But then at the end of the 162 games, for a couple teams, it just comes down to like 2 innings or whatever. Like, this is what happened. What happened today? The Braves and the Mets played a doubleheader, and each one of them needed to win 1 game to clinch the playoffs. And if somebody would sweep those 2, then the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are already done with their season, would have made the playoffs. So anyway, insanity. And the Mets were behind 3-0, then came back to lead 6-3. Then the Braves came back and took a 7-6 lead. And then Francisco Lindor hit a 2-run home run to give the Mets the 8-7 final victory. So they clinched the playoffs. All this to say, both the Yankees and the Mets are in the playoffs. And as long as they're in, we don't have a stadium. Now, the schedule is such that they both would have to pretty much make it to the World Series for us to.
Series.
For us, so if there was a Subway Series, World Series, then your dream has a chance of coming true. But then we also would have
the more realistic take on it is that if that were the case, you would then go play in East Hartford, Connecticut as your home stadium. Right?
Would we though? I don't know.
I'm asking you, isn't that? I'm asking you.
That's what we've done in the past. I don't know. It hasn't been. We've played a Champions League game there. We've played a regular season game in Hartford. That's a nice stadium, and it's a beautiful field. But that is a ways away. But I would imagine, especially if we were playing the Red Bulls, I would imagine we could not possibly play our home game at that stadium. So they would have,
right.
And then Hartford is the only other. There's also, I mean, I guess for a playoff game, there's not enough seats. We also now have the Icon Stadium on Randall's Island.
Yeah, but not a 4,000 seater or something.
Yeah, it's too small. It's probably too small. So yeah, anyway, to be determined. But we have 2 more home games that we could have played at Citi Field if the Mets had not made it today, but they have, so that's off the table. So we're going to play Red Bull Arena 3 games in a row.
Hey, amazing. That's all we're good for these days.
Amazing.
I
guess so.
But, I mean, the reality is, so, okay, we had the Derby over the weekend, and NYCFC won 5-1.
5-1. What are we calling it? The blue divorce seems to be...
Blue divorce.
Seems to have gotten traction on Twitter.
Well,
in reference to
the Red Wedding was 7-0.
That's true.
7-0. It's a 3-goal difference. But
so it's not enough for a nickname. There were chants. We won 7. There were chants towards the end of the game, and we could have had 7 actually. But anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I personally thought it was always a little ridiculous how much the Red Bull fan base was. I mean, it was one regular season game, but for years it was still like when they came out, when the Apple Plus MLS season pass, this was a big talking point in the best of Red Bulls in their like club history. Is like a highlight. That it's like, I mean, really, it's one game. Come on. And we were like a pretty new franchise.
So this result,
I don't. Yeah,
you're sitting there. I mean, clearly it affected you more than it affected us, because I mean,
what
criticize the fact that it's an event. Yeah, beating your crosstown rivals 7-0 is something to remember. What if Manchester United beat Manchester City 7-0? You're not allowed to sit there and be like, they should forget about that.
No, fair enough. But like 8 years, like 6 years later, still, this is going to be the thing. Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
100 years later, man.
100 years later.
When are the English going to forget about 5-1 in München, do you think? How long before they forget about that?
They bring that up so rarely now already. I don't know.
But it's they had a front cover of the newspaper the next day.
All right.
Anywho, I don't want to talk about any of that crap.
Okay.
It wasn't really about the 5-1. It was just about the...
Wait, what? No. It is about the 5-1.
Yeah, the Red Bulls played very poorly. I mean,
That is
3
true.
minutes in, right? We said it has tie written all over it. Forsberg's ready. What's
Yeah,
his face?
neither-
Suspended. Who suspended the super score?
Santi Rodriguez.
Santi Rodriguez suspended.
I mean,
And, like, amazing.
that's a stretch. Super score
Red
is
Bull.
a stretch.
Whatever, at Red Bull, and then at Red Bull Arena. And they come out, and then Carlos Cornell, 3 minutes in, kicks it to one of your boys or something, and they score on us right away. And I'm like, what the hell? What the heck's going on here? And then Noah Eiley gets schooled all day, and it gets outrun all the time. And they're just running around like chicken with their heads cut off.
Well, the second
And
goal
once
also
CFC
was a
score one goal
poor
after another. So many midfield turnovers.
was a
And I'm
poor
just like-
Edelman back pass right to
Right,
Alonso
it's
Martinez.
all bad. It's like, what is going on here? Like,
Yeah,
get
I mean,
your head
that-
out of your ass and start playing soccer again. We're Rebels. Somehow, I want to know what happened before the game. I don't know what's going on because Emil Forsberg also left early. He went to the locker room before the game, before halftime was announced, or like before halftime was done. He was already gone. So, people. I don't know what to take of that. Does that mean? I don't know. How would you take something like that?
Wait, he was on the bench at the time, so he just
Right.
left.
And then he didn't watch the rest of the game. He left and went to the locker room before halftime.
How? Okay.
That's weird, right? Usually don't do that as a soccer player.
Yeah, that's weird. All right. Yeah, I didn't.
How would you
didn't
interpret
notice
something
that?
like
Of course, no
good
idea.
thing
Maybe
or
he
bad?
had some. Maybe he wanted to warm up more because he was coming in. I mean, there could be
Yeah.
reasons. Could be good reasons.
I mean, he didn't come in until the 60th or the
Yeah,
70th minute
that's
or whatever.
But,
So,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe he just had to pee.
yeah.
I don't
Or
know.
maybe
No,
there's
you
something
guys-
wrong with the locker room right now.
I would agree with you that this was more about you all being bad than us being so good. Although we were very good. Historically, in this matchup, it was always like you knew, and especially at Red Bull Arena, it's like that's ironically when the Red Bull fans come out when they're playing us. So it was pretty packed. Stadium was full. I think it was a sellout. They said, although it was not.
No,
There
it
were-
was half full on the screen.
half?
What do you
No,
mean a
no, it was
sellout?
more than half full. They called it a sellout. I saw something on Twitter saying that it was a sold out stadium, but it was definitely not full. There were
Creative.
some
paperwork.
rows at the top, especially that were not filled. But it was pretty good. It was a pretty good crowd. And usually, historically, it was like, yeah, the Red Bulls are going to be aggressive. They're gonna show up, and we're sort of perhaps the better playing team, and that was always the matchup. But in this game, we just on a physical level, we were just dominant, and right from the beginning, our press was wildly better than yours. I think at Citi Field earlier this year, I said that too, and I think.
Well, our work was
But
right.
even-
Sloppy. The turnovers, the
Yeah.
bad passing, the back passing. Our work was just so sloppy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is everyone screwing up here? Why is it one mistake after another? What?
Yeah, I mean that's true.
No,
You
I only got
spotted
smoked on
us.
3 different goals, I think.
You spotted
like,
us
what
2
is going on here?
goals. I mean, on the second goal, Alonso Martinez still had a lot to do after that poor back pass, but still, yeah. And then briefly, it got. You guys scored a goal off a weird corner kick ricochet kind of thing, but then immediately, there was some. Then obviously people went nuts, and there was some feeling of But then immediately, like 2 minutes later, we scored again, and that took the air out of the building.
Also,
again.
did you see the replay? The Red Bulls goal, I think, wasn't supposed to count. There was a missed VAR moment there. The New York Red Bull goal would be considered controversial if it was like a winning goal.
Oh, interesting.
Because there was a foul in the lead up, I believe, that should have been called back.
Oh, all right.
It was not called back. So we shouldn't even gotten the 1 goal we got.
So only 2 goals then. Only 2 goals less than the Red Wedding.
The Red Wedding. The event that we shouldn't even be talking about because it wasn't a big deal.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right to mention. Certainly in this context, it's worth mentioning it. The moment that gave me pause is when it was such a big thing in the introductory Red Bull video on Apple TV, where I was like, really?
We're
This
the
is
only
like-
club that made an introductory video, okay? We should be thankful.
Okay, I appreciate it. You only made that
Everyone
video
made
so
a
that you got
3-minute
to
video
talk
and made a
about the
30-minute
Red Wedding
documentary,
again.
okay? We're doing it right. We'll never buy ads, but we'll always have an in-house video team ready to make documentaries to
All right.
no viewers on YouTube. Like, I go on the official New York Red Bulls YouTube page to advertise our stream, but our stream has essentially the same amount of hits as their streams. So it's not that big of a difference.
We're
But that's
all
sort of the
same.
big. So this always goes back to the same thing over and over and over again. So it's a disappointing game. And the very first thing that the New York Red Bulls tweeted afterwards was, "We qualified for the playoffs."
Yeah, that's funny. We both clinched, right? Read it
Just
too.
true. You know how I love quirks?
That's a quirk. You lose
That's a
5-1. Made the
After
playoffs.
this game, we made it to the playoffs.
And you
Yeah.
all are, I mean, both of us were kind of limping into it, right? Like, we hadn't won since July before this game, and you hadn't won similarly.
We still
right?
haven't. I don't know. We won one game. I want to say a few weeks ago, but we've been on. We have 14 ties. That's half our
Yeah.
games. Half our games are ties, and the other half are a mix of wins and losses. But as of late, they've just been losses.
Which is
So-
why we have the tiebreaker. We have 12 wins. I mean, we got
head-to-head. We have much better goal difference than you, I think, or at least we did before yesterday. But
no,
you-
we're
you
now the
just can't
same.
get it.
You know, obviously, like, we're now the same. Obviously,
Yesterday
a bit-
before the game, we had +8 and you had 0.
Yeah, no, that's what a
now
5-1
it's
victory will do.
Yeah, so now it's what +4 and 0 or something.
We're
like that, or
both
+4 and 8?
we're both +4.
Oh, so they're equal. But you're ahead on the head to head. That's the tiebreaker, right?
Yes, we have more wins. In MLS, also speaking of MLS quirks, in MLS the first tiebreaker is wins, not the goal differential. So we have 12 wins and 8 ties and 11 losses. You have 10, 7, 14. So we got the same amount of
14
points,
times, baby.
but we got the same amount of points, same amount of goal differential. This is another quirk. Philadelphia and Montreal have the same record of wins, losses, and ties. 9, 12, and 10. 31 goals. Philly's goal differential is +10. Montreal's goal differential is -17. It's just 27 goal
It
difference.
doesn't matter. Do you know why? It all doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Because
matter.
everyone's going to the playoffs. Everybody's invited. Don't worry about it.
Not
Everybody's
both of
invited.
those. Not both of those teams. I don't think.
Well, Chicago's
one is-
not. But
One's
Chicago.
going to be in.
San
One's
Jose
going to
is
be in.
not.
One's
But
going to
San
be out.
Jose. San Jose is about to lose their owner. Chicago.
Is officially eliminated.
Right.
Everybody
so.
else is still
San
in.
Jose is officially the golden.
Oh
Spoon
yeah,
winner
in the
5
West, St. Louis, Kansas City, and San Jose are eliminated.
Yeah. San Jose just won their 5th Golden Spoon, more of any club in MLS history.
Yeah, they're terrible.
And they've got what's his name? John Fisher up there. They got Josh Fisher, John Fisher, what's his name? The guy who's relocating the A's to Vegas, and he's relocating all his teams from
I
NorCal.
don't know who that is.
Oh, he's the owner. John Fisher's the most hated man in sports right now. He's been all over sports media, and everyone's like, "Oh, John Fisher." And John Fisher is the San Jose Earthquakes owner. And I mean, people are talking about San Jose Earthquakes folding and stuff like that. They don't like the future of the San
Oh,
Jose
they're going to go
Earthquakes
somewhere else.
is or something. All I know
I
is it's not
also,
good.
speaking of those relocations, there was some people talking about Twitter about it. In Austin, people don't show up to Austin games anymore after that was such a hotbed.
Adrian Healy's photo.
And they, yeah, exactly. And so Anthony Precourt moved the team and did all the, and it seems like, yeah, because they're not doing well. They're not making the playoffs. They're going to be the next team to be officially eliminated. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. It seems like some of the new markets, the shine is coming off too. And the old, yeah, I mean, we had a pretty, I thought, I mean, yeah, if it looked empty, I don't know. But like this was a pretty good, the vibes were good in this derby. I mean, obviously, always nice to get a big win. But it was packed and they put on fireworks after. I thought that was very thoughtful. We had the cup. The Hudson River Derby Cup is now a thing. I put up $20. We've talked about this. I put up $20 to get an actual trophy, and we won it because we won both of our games this year.
You get your $20 back, or
So no, it was just made me happy to see our guys lift the trophy on the field. the fan representatives of the supporters groups handed them the trophy, and no, that was fun.
Cool.
We had.
I know. Are we done with all this? Can I start talking about the real topic, or do you still want to talk about?
You want to talk about Oliver Mintzlaff?
I just want to talk about Austin, all these new fans, all these plastic stick fans. Like, cry me a river. I really could care less about new team losing plastic fans.
Oh, damn.
The real teams stick around after a while, like the New York Rebels. You have to be a real club for that.
Okay.
So the New York Rebels fans have been promised last season an investment and improvement. And that came from Marc de Grand Pré. Now, this has been sort of the big talk of the New York Rebels. And this past weekend,
can I intersect? Can I intersect? The Viking Army, or whatever your supporters are called, they did roll out the "Not Good Enough" banner again, which I was wondering, do they just bring that to every game, like just to have it ready to go? Depending on what
very
happens?
Small, so you can just fold it up. And put
you just sort of roll it up. You just bring it.
Yeah.
And then as needed. Anyway, please continue.
Yeah, some good they did that, but again, very pedestrian. They should be a little more aggressive, I think. But yeah, and it's just the big talk. What's up with this club? They don't care about us and stuff. So, it's about vibes. I'm just like, here in LA, man, the Derby sells out weeks in advance, and tickets are very expensive. Morning of the Derby, they were selling $18 tickets at all the area colleges, just trying to get anybody to show up for that game. I mean, the New York Rebels, the crosstown rivals should be a sellout. It's like they have alienated and gotten rid of most of their fans, New York Rebels, through behaviors like this, of not signing players and not marketing the team and all that crap. And then, the words of Marc de Grand Pré, every year around season ticket renewal time, he offers a bunch of horse crap about investments coming. And then we don't really see it happening at all. And it's just the same old crap over and over again. And then, it's just the same thing. And it's like you're just getting rid of the last of the Mohicans. You're getting rid of us, man. There's only a couple of us left. You're about to get rid of all of us. Because it's like, then we had Oliver Mintzlaff come in on kicker. I do want to talk about that.
This was rich.
There's two things I want to talk about. So the way my brain works. So we got kicker, right? We got Oliver Mintzlaff the Monday after the game. So
he's
great
the
timing.
CEO of Red Bull, of all of Red Bull, not
all
just
of Red Bull,
New York,
Super Red
all
Bull.
of Red Bull.
And he holds a very coveted position on the MLS product committee, which I didn't know until last time, which blew my mind because he's a very absentee guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out he, quote unquote, has an active role on one of these MLS commissions, which might be very telling to how fake these MLS commissions are. Because if a guy who doesn't even know about the league is on the commission of the league, then maybe if that's true, what else is true? Maybe all these other commissions are just...
Well, I mean, Ferran Soriano is on there, right? The City Football Group guy.
He probably doesn't know this, but I'm sure the MLS paperwork will say that. I'm sure you'll see it in press releases. Because Oliver Mintzlaff was interviewed about all sorts of stuff. Apparently Red Bull is about to open up a club in Japan, which will be interesting. Because I think the American market has been disappointing Germany, but the Japanese market has not.
Well, let's hear this. Let's hear this quote.
Well, the quote I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, I have it. MLS is developing, but it's developing far too slowly and is still far away from the standard we would imagine for a country like the USA.
And this is coming from the man who's on the product development board or whatever.
I mean,
so it is up
if
to
only
him.
this is like politicians tweeting about the ills of society. It's like, well, if only somebody could do it, could do something about this.
Or
well,
like when Trinson complained about the technical development of players or something. It's like, you've been the technical director for 3 years. It's like that's your assignment.
It's like, yeah, somebody, and we were talking about this before. Somebody was tweeting the meme from the hot dog guy of we're all trying to find whoever did this. It's like,
right, it's a Tim Robinson sketch. I think you should leave, where it's clearly the guy. It's a guy in a hot dog suit drives a hot dog mobile into a house, and he's pretending like he's with the other
pretending
guys trying to figure out who did
it
this.
wasn't him, and you say we're all just trying to find who did this. And
Yeah,
Oliver
yeah, the US
Mitzlov is just trying to figure out how this happened. MLS is not developing because he's
this is
not
again-
spending anything.
This is again the thing that makes me wonder if my fandom is appropriate, because it challenges a fan, because Martin Grandpré has to offer bull crap as CEO. He's got to offer something. But then when the real bosses, the real people in charge, like Mario Gomez and Oliver Mitzlov, the real people in charge, but when they say like it's disappointing we can't get more players out of them, that's really all they care about. So like they really are just like, this is a youth development academy for us. The team is a bunch of academy all-stars. Again, we don't care. We care less if they win. We just want players that can serve, which they've done very poor of. It's literally led to almost zero players. I think Tyler Adams is like the one exception. And in that same interview, apparently, talks about how the second part of that quote is really excited about the U.S. because they have the Club World Cup coming up, which is crap. And they have the World Cup coming up. It's like, oh, it's very exciting.
Why is that crap? Why is the
so much so? Let me finish my thought first. I'll get into it. So much so that they're investing in a $200 million academy that they're building. And I'm like, what? Come again? And he didn't mention anything about the New York Rebels at all. He didn't say anything about the New York Rebels. He didn't bring up the New York Rebels at all during the interview, from what I understand. He just talked about the U.S. in general. Now Red Bull is going to build an academy there. I am just so confused by this sentiment. I'm like, well, hold on. Is this a separate academy? So this is not the New York Rebels Academy. This is a different academy. And I think it is. I don't know where it is. I imagine somewhere on the West Coast. I think it's just going to be Red Bull Soccer Academy, because that's really all they want. They want to get kids out of here. And if you invest $200 million in an academy here, clearly they're also trying to bank on the soccer mom pay-to-play market out here. It's so vibrant, So it just all comes off as very like, just the artisanal care isn't there. LAFC, this is not. Or there's a guy who lives here and he's really invested in his one club and invests in its well-being. We don't got that up in the New York Rebels. And this is just another example of them gaslighting their fans. They're gaslighting us. Do you know what the term gaslighting is, Bjorn? It's a hip term these days.
You're.
How would you explain?
How would I explain gaslighting? Well, it's sort of like it's in a way even worse than lying. It's just like sort of pretending that something is true that it's not.
Yeah, to manipulate you.
Manipulating.
Right?
Yes.
But the idea is to make you seem like you're incorrect.
So you're crazy. Yeah, exactly. So you're the crazy one.
The Red Bull ownership, Red Bull GmbH, is gaslighting the New York Red Bulls fan base. They've been doing it for a while, and this is yet another example of a gaslight. Martin Grandpré is like, we are investing. This is not good. We will do better. And then the actual owner, the guy who actually says something, is like, yeah, the whole place is disappointing. We're actually going to build an academy there someday. I'm just like, we had an academy since 2006 supposedly. Like, what?
Yeah, what is
So, as a
this?
Red
What
Bulls
is going to
fan,
happen? Yeah.
It's all upsetting. Something's got to give at some point. If it's just the same thing over and over again, and like limping in the playoffs as they wait for players coming around, they're going to lose my fandom, right? Because if they don't care, why would anybody care?
You're going to be
No
a
wonder they
Galaxy
can't get
guy.
people in the stadium.
What's where are you headed? Galaxy, LAFC.
Galaxy. I am in a market full of so many great options. Both LA teams have really great committed owners. Both LA teams, their goal is to win MLS Cup every year. And they have no partner teams that are more important. It's just the one club. All they care about is themselves, and them. And it's nice. And, I mean, the being a New York Red Bulls fan right now is very difficult because of the gaslighting. And let's get more practical with it. They've been tying and losing, tie, lose. And yesterday was the opportunity for them to be up for it. Saturday, sorry. They're up against NYCFC. Are you guys going to be up for it? No, they weren't up for it. They were shell-shocked, and they were just fell apart. And it just makes you wonder. It's like we're 4 games away from the playoffs. Are we not up for it anymore? Like, can these boys not battle?
Yeah, it was not a good showing.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't know any better, we're just gonna get spanked for the next 4 games. That's the end of the season. And is it any better than any of our 15 previous seasons? No, not in a million years. The press, by the way, of which New York Red Bulls has 4 of, one of them on Twitter right away called for Schwarz's head. He's like, Sandro Schwarz needs to be fired.
Really?
This is a journalist speaking, by the way. This is not a
Okay.
fan. I had to challenge the journalist. I had to calm the journalist down. I had to be like, well, hold on now. You have to wait till the season. It's just one game to wait till the season's over. But he's like, any other league, a guy who's winless in 9 and loses this heavy to crosstown rivals gets fired. And I'm like, hard to argue with that. I mean, that is true. But here in MLS, 5 of our teams right before the playoffs don't have head coaches. It's another little quirky quirk of MLS. The amount of interim coaches this league has right now, right before the playoffs,
Yeah, they have a lot of.
It's also very MLS quirky right now. You don't see that in the Bundesliga. It's not like half of the league's got interim coaches.
Interim
before,
coaches,
relegation.
yeah. I guess it's like, oh, we'll just got a couple games left. Just let the janitor do it. Well, I mean, I don't want to. Is this it? Is this all you got about your poor sad team? I mean, the City Field game, I had some nice things to say about your team. This time, didn't turn up. Poor showing.
Are they going to show up next week? I don't know.
We will
Maybe
see.
there's something wrong with the locker room. They started off really spry. They look great at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, they were very high up for a minute.
Yeah,
But lately not as much. Well, I don't feel like everything's well on my side of the river either. I mean, there was it was the connection I was going to make. It's like you don't invest in talent. We invest big money in talent, but then we keep them on the bench. We have all these guys that are not playing. This was what brought this on in my mind is, Santi Rodriguez was sitting, and so I thought, oh, this is good. We're going to get some of our wingers sometime. We have these young wingers that get very few minutes, and but it turns out Nick Cushing opted to put another midfielder in, Andres Perea, who was basically playing the left wing, but then tucked inside and gave Kevin O'Toole a bunch of room, and that was part of the game plan, which obviously worked very well. I can't argue with success in this particular case, but it is kind of worrying me in terms of the future. We have all this young talent that doesn't play, and Nick Cushing seems to have his guys. He likes Kevin O'Toole. He likes Munsif. I mean, Alonso Martinez has 14 goals and 3 assists in about 1,300 minutes. Now, that's pretty exactly a goal per 90. There's only one player in MLS who can match that stat. You know who that is? Lionel Messi.
Oh, Lionel
He
Messi.
has the same goals per 90 than Alonso Martinez. Everybody else has who's in that, has many more minutes. And
Are you trying to make me feel better by saying you have the same problem because you have a plethora of overpaid players sitting on your bench?
I think it's
Only
totally
that-
different.
that
I think it's a
issue
completely.
of us where we had a
I
bunch
think
of
it's a totally
16-year-olds.
different issue. No, I think it's like the opposite. It's the opposite
Yeah, this is
problem
the opposite.
in a way.
We've got
I
all
think
sorts of
if you had
16-year-olds.
Agustin Ojeda and Jovan Mijatovic and
Yeah, they'd be
Julian
week in, week out
Fernandez,
players.
that would be your front line. Like every week, I think. I mean,
Dante and
over
Elias wouldn't sniff the field. you know?
over whoever you have. Yeah, I mean, I think for sure. And in our case, these guys have not. I looked this up. Jovan Mijatovic, $10 million, 19-year-old striker from Serbia, has played 271 minutes. Julian Fernandez has played 650 minutes. And Agustin Ojeda, he's played a little bit more, but it's still 3 digits, 925. Now, Alonso Martinez has his goals in 1,254 minutes, which is pretty crazy. 14 goals in 1,254 minutes. And Monsef Bakrar, though, are like stopgap number 9 we got last week, and who runs around like a chicken with his head cut off and can hit the broadside of a barn most of the time. He has played more minutes. He has played 1,300 minutes. And every game, even in this game, 60 minutes in, Nick Cushing takes off Alonso Martinez in favor of Monsef Bakrar.
So you're criticizing the coach right now.
I mean, I have questions. I have questions about, last year he got a pass from me because the squad was bad, and that wasn't his fault. This year he has the tools, and I mean, we're doing better. We're going to make the playoffs, so it's not like, but yeah, I have some questions about his player development. You know what really pissed me off? Not pissed me off, but where I felt sad when I was watching Maxime Chanot in the Open Cup for LAFC.
Yeah.
Maxime Chanot is a day in, day out starter for LAFC. He's better. He's still better. I mean, he's spring chicken. I think he's 30, however old he is, 35, 36. He's still better than either of our center backs. Burke Reese is constantly injured. Thiago Martins, we keep being told how great he is. He was an all-star, but he had a good game Saturday. Everybody played well Saturday, but he did not have a good game against Philly, and he's made some blunders. I would trade either of them for Chanot. And we were told at the time, he wants to go play in his home country, blah, blah, blah. But he took the first chance he got to get back into MLS to play for LAFC. So something happened behind the scenes now. We don't know.
To get out of there.
We don't know what.
We of course about the time. There was some mysterious happening, right? Wasn't he?
Well, he was benched, I guess. We had the new center backs, and he was supposed to be number 3. And then also, his wife, I guess, is volatile. She runs a social media account. She posted something. So there was some dust up, and we, of course, we don't know who's at fault. But I mean, that's really too bad, because that guy was committed. He was in the team since 2016. He had been there for 8 years, and so to just let him go like that is upsetting. And we could have used him.
Maybe the difference between an ownership like a New York club versus an ownership of an LA club. Because like a club like NYCFC, or definitely with the Red Bulls, they have to keep them young because the idea of all their players are long term. And there are exceptions, obviously. Maxi Morales, 35.
Yeah, Maxi Morales is starting every game. He's 38.
Or 38.
I don't know. There's a disconnect.
Maxime Chanot, they got rid of him. And a club like LAFC or LA Galaxy doesn't care how old you are. They just care if you got what it takes to contribute to their team.
Right. Well, we shouldn't, and that shouldn't be. Yeah, that shouldn't be a consideration. We have a young team. We could have used some veterans, and he got into it with Talles Magno at some point on the field. We don't know, behind the scenes. But now they're both gone, and yeah, it's unclear. There is a disconnect because you can't, we bought all these players and they don't play. So does that mean? There's a problem somewhere. Either the players are recruited poor play. We paid a lot of money for players that aren't good. That's not good. Or the coach doesn't care about developing these young guys, or he is not. He's been very good about elevating kind of back of the bench guys like Andres Jason and Kevin O'Toole, those kind of players, and he doesn't seem to be as good developing the higher end talent. He sticks with these underdog players. The
minute Ferran Soriano starts to look at the books again or whatever, then that's not going to be good, because I'm sure they're going to want to coach specifically to utilize the players they spent money on. I mean,
I feel like obviously you should play to win, of course, but it's like, I mean, the Monsef Bakra, I don't understand. Like, I think he should be the number 3 guy, and we should have. I mean, Alonso Martinez. He really eventually made himself undeniable because he scored so many goals. But clearly, Cushing did not prefer him over Bakrar, and he was we
Sounds
were
like
joking.
He has a real anti-Latino bias.
I
That's what I'm hearing right now.
I don't want to name it
Pro
that. I
Europe,
think that's crazy. Like I
Anti-South
don't know
America.
if it's I'm not saying that, but he seems to have his guys, and I think Maxi Morales is playing too much considering that he's 38 and he's not going to be around forever. I mean, we'll see. This was obviously a big win. We had an emotional late inning equalizer against Miami, and maybe this will galvanize everybody. We have a lot of strength. Our
Is
midfield
it
is
common
really
for NYCFC fans to discuss innings during a game?
innings.
You just said we had a late inning win against Miami.
A late inning win. Well, I guess we
So you just said.
It
Is that
wasn't
common?
Yan-
Is that part of
it was at
NYCFC
Yankee. It was
culture?
at Yankee Stadium. So I guess it's
Is that NYCFC thing talk about the
it's
innings?
apropos. It's apropos. We
Oh, yeah,
tied.
remember when Messi scored that great goal around the seventh inning stretch?
We tied in extra innings. Anyway,
Well, you brought it up though. The other thing I want to talk about, at the end of the day, despite us not being happy, we're going to the playoffs. We
Yeah.
got 4 games left. All I really want is us to get some fight back.
3,
Get,
right?
Forsberg
it's 3.
integrated, and maybe hit the freaking playoffs a little bit extra steam, huh?
3 games
and
left.
it is looking. If it ends right now, we play each other, right? Doesn't 4th play 5th?
Yeah, except we're 5th and 6th, so we would play Orlando, and you would play Cincinnati.
All right. Well, we wouldn't do well against Cincinnati. I don't think.
Orlando's good all of a sudden. Not sure
Yeah.
how that happened. I can't say that I've watched them a whole lot, but they're in 4th. They beat Dallas very 3-1, I think, on the road. So 4th place is still in reach, but Orlando's looking strong. We have 2 home games, but the home games are at Red Bull Arena, which our fans hate and won't come. I will go.
We're
We
shooting
have
for that home playoff game too. That was ours the whole season. For what? For 5 weeks in a row, you had the opportunity to leapfrog us. You finally took it on the time we played each other, and you knew it was going to happen. We were giving it to you for weeks.
Yep.
So thankfully, you guys finally took it. But it would be nice if we could freaking get 1 or 2 wins in the last 4, and maybe get that home playoff spot. We haven't had a home playoff spot in forever. But you alluded to it earlier. There were 2 big games this week that, frankly, I didn't watch. But there were 2 finals this week.
Yeah,
It was the U.S. Open Cup final that LAFC won. But, of course, that has a big asterisk to it because what even was the U.S. Open Cup this year? And Kai Kamara offered some cool thoughts because Don Garber was at that final.
Yeah.
He was not at the Campeones Cup final.
Interesting, right? What do you make of that? I noticed that.
Find that to be very interesting. That's definitely breaking expectations. You'd expect him to beat the Campeones Cup.
He was when we won it a couple years ago.
Yeah. It's an MLS thing. It's one of those MLS fake things I made up. I actually don't even know. Columbus Crew lost in penalties, right? Is that what happened?
Yes, to Club America.
Was this in Columbus?
It was.
Probably. That's a shame. But now another close but no cigar for Columbus as they keep.
I am blatantly anti-Columbus. I'm the contrarian. I don't love. I was happy to see them lose.
They lost in penalties in what I'm sure was an uneventful game in general. Because it's a terrible time to have a game.
I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, but if I'm either of those teams, it's like we have real titles in 3 weeks. Like we have to. What is this? Like we have to go. Well, they both have the playoffs coming up.
Well, you don't even rate the Club World Cup. What's up with that? What is crap about the Club World Cup?
Well, the players don't want to play it. No one wants it to happen. No one here in the United States is that excited about it.
I'm pretty excited about it. But all right.
Which club? I don't know. I really could care less about the Club World Cup, to be honest.
Okay.
I'll watch it, but there is a very good chance it's not going to happen. I do believe the players are going to have to go. I think it's going to make the players go on strike, which I would support, by the way.
Okay.
Because
yeah,
love soccer, but the players are great.
There is a lot of talk of this. There's a lot of, the players feel like their workload is too much, and I think that's probably it's pretty undisputed. But obviously, a lot of money on the line.
UEFA
Yeah,
and FIFA are both heading in that direction to force the players to strike. It's only getting worse on their end, and the players are getting louder and louder about it. Something's got to give. So there's got to be some sort of strike that's about to happen. Something's got to happen to stop it. Because the UEFA and the FIFA guys are just like, more money? Yes, please. And it's just, are they as fit? Are the players as fit and as available as they should be for a lot of these games? They did release the venues. United States will host two tournaments at the same time. One will be entirely on the West Coast. The other will be entirely on the East Coast. So the Club World Cup, I believe, is on the East Coast, and the Gold Cup is on the West Coast. I believe that's what they made. But here in Los Angeles, we're hosting both. But New Jersey will be hosting the final. And someone on Twitter, was it Pablo Mara, said, if you had to name, what is it, top 25 soccer venues in the United States? No, I forgot what it was. He said something about MetLife Stadium wouldn't even make that list. Or something about talking about how it's not really that coveted of a place to watch soccer in.
It's not a great stadium. I mean, it's fine, but yeah.
Man, he's right, but I guess just because of location. But anyway, I mean, what do you think about the Club World Cup coming up? Do you think it's gonna be a huge
I
hit?
mean, I obviously I share those. I guess I share those concerns. I mean, it does seem like we're just playing more and more, but aside from that, if you take that away, I think it is exciting. You have these, because this is different. I mean, first of all, the tournament is expanding. There's going to be more teams from every region, and I think that is interesting. We always are kind of. It's very difficult to compare where the leagues are, in relation to each other, blah blah blah. And so to have like a bigger sample size of meaningful games between club teams from different continents, I think is interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Can I share?
And it's going to be here. It's going to happen here in America. I mean, it's better than the paying $150 for a preseason friendly of Arsenal Man United or whatever. This will actually mean something. I don't know.
Yeah, I challenge if it's going to be any different, to be honest. I guess by rules they can't have as many subs. What's his face McGee from Real Madrid? What's his name? Carlo Ancelotti already said that the Real Madrid home games make more money than these FIFA Club World Cup games are going to make for them. So financially, it makes no sense for them to participate. So that's a thing with the bigger clubs. The other thing is I predict the future. Do you want to hear the press conferences from this upcoming Summer Club World Cup? Do you want to hear them? It's really hot here. It's really humid here. The flights are really long here. The turf is really challenging. The turf is hard. The surface isn't great. So if you want a preview of what the press conference is going to sound like, there, I just gave it to you.
All right. Well,
what do you mean you don't know? You don't think the players and the
killing
coaches
killing my Club World Cup buzz. I'm gonna. Should we have an?
Do you think
should
they're
we
not
have an
gonna
emotional? Should we have an emotional check-in about how I feel about the Club World Cup? Not
Please.
that great anymore. I was feeling good about it 5 minutes ago.
Until what? Dose of reality clicked in?
I mean, obviously this is all, yeah. If the clubs don't want it, and if it's not, then it's gonna suck. But in theory, I'm into it. In theory, on paper, I'm into it.
Yeah, it's nice to see MLS. Like, I liked when Seattle Sounders finally qualified. And then they went to Morocco and they lost 3-0 to some local team, got kicked out right away. That's like embarrassing. I want to see MLS clubs compete in that tournament and make a run to the final. That's what I want to see.
There's no way.
This us hosting for the summer is typical U.S. soccer. We make it easier on ourselves. All U.S. games in-house. All MLS club games in-house. Now we've got the FIFA Club World Cup only if we host it in-house. These MLS.
I guess if all the European teams decide not to show up or said their youth squads, then I guess there'll be a chance.
I think that's very likely, to be honest. Also, how good will a Red Bull Salzburg versus Quito a game sell? Do you think?
I'll go. I don't know. We'll see.
Will you?
I mean, sure.
Let's hope. Well.
All right.
Do you have anything else with U.S. soccer?
On that note,
Poch's first roster coming soon.
Oh, that's going to be exciting. I hope Keaton Parks and Jimmy Sands. I'm lobbying.
Maybe he's shaking it up. It's just
We
bunch
got a
of
good. I mean, listen. I'm not saying they should be starters or whatever, but like, is Luca De La Torre better than Keaton Parks these days? I don't think so.
Yes. I do.
No. Yunus Musa better than Jimmy Sands?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, it's
I
apple
guess
and
we'll get
orange.
a look at him on Wednesday. Tuesday. Wednesday. When is the
Tuesday.
Milan?
Leverkusen
Tuesday.
versus Milan.
Very good.
We'll see how he does with his 20 minutes. What I will
All
say,
right.
overall, Americans, like Ricardo Pepi finally got a start. He scored a brace. Like Weston McKennie's now playing week in, week out. So his nonsense is done. Like more Americans are. It's still unfortunate Chris Richards against a blow injury, but most Americans are playing right now. Which is nice, you know.
All right. Well, I am excited to see Poch's squat.
Me too. We'll see what it looks like. All right, everybody. This has been the USA Hour. Schnitzel Boys. Emotional check-ins. Being a
Yeah.
Red Bulls fan is tough.
So
because
many
of the
feelings.
investment.
So many feelings.
Yeah, it's about feeling. It's an emotional check-in podcast here. And we're fans. We feel. And when we meet in large quantities, we amplify our feelings. That's the beauty of it all. All right, everyone. Peace.
Who's your daddy? They were chanting at Red Bull Arena.
Yeah. Who's our daddy? The reality is we don't have one because our parents are absent.
Oh, you're orphaned.